Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and cover 5 tips for people that are looking for help in getting into niche fragrances. Now these are 5 tips that will generally help you or anyone else. This could be for somebody new into the niche fragrance line. This could be for somebody that has already been kind of collecting niche fragrances and kind of smelling new niche fragrances. So these are 5 tips that will help you in that regard. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get started. Tip number 1. Sample fragrances. You may be very tempted to, as you smell fragrances, or even before you don't smell fragrances, you'll hear recommendations from people and you'll be like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy that fragrance. Well, with niche fragrances being generally a lot more expensive than designer fragrances, it can quickly add up and it can lead to a lot of disappointment, especially if it's something that you don't like. Generally, fragrances cannot be returned, so you really want to be careful with that. And for that, my main rule to people, especially people getting into niche fragrances, is to sample them. If you can, go on their website, see if you can purchase sample sets. Yeah, sure, you're definitely paying for that and the shipping, but you will be saving a ton of money if it's something that, suits your fancy or even doesn't suit your fancy. As you can, kind of get those samples, smell them, you'll be able to make a better decision over what fragrances you want. So for there, so stay away from the blind buying and stuff like that. Really focus on samples and focus on purchasing samples. There are sites out there that fully dedicate themselves to samples. You can go to Lucky Scent as one of them, who have niche fragrances that are out there, and also little samples that you can purchase of said niche fragrances that you can go ahead and try them out on. So that, and the main sites where these houses provide the scents, you can find those samples. So tip number 1, samples. Tip number 2, join groups or fragrance related groups. You can do this on Facebook, you can do this through Base Notes, you can do this through Fragrantica, the message groups. You want to join groups. Why? People there are extremely helpful and they can really help you out in things that you might be trying to do or you might be wanting to learn about. They can give you recommendations for fragrances. They can suggest to you where you might get certain fragrances. You can jump in on splits. You can, splits, which for those of you who don't know, are where somebody buys like a huge bottle of the fragrance and then he splits it out and then sells those each individually. Or everyone will decide to buy a particular fragrance, or 10 people will decide to buy a certain fragrance, and you do the same thing. So it cuts down on the cost. There are many things and many advantages that you can get from joining fragrance groups, and it plugs you in. You can find out some of the best. So there are many, again, examples for doing it. So I would highly suggest joining these groups. Tip number 3, budget. Budget things. If you don't budget, I have seen this happen so many times to the point where it's kind of ridiculous. If you don't budget, you may just go broke. You may just kind of lose your shirt as you get more excited and getting more into fragrances. You'll probably overspend is what I'm trying to say. And so it's important to kind of set yourself a monthly budget of what you're willing to spend so that you do not go over that amount. A tertiary benefit to that is it allows you to become a little bit more critical over some of the scents, and you'll only purchase what you really want or what you really need. But be very, beware of over purchasing. If you don't create a budget, just be very mindful of how much you're actually purchasing and that it's within your right. When you're faced with a fragrance, a lot of times, if you're like me, what you're going to do is you're going to start rationalizing things. Okay, well, if I don't have lunch for 3 days, then I'll be able to afford this fragrance, or some nonsense like that. So try not to do that. Create a budget, stick to it, and you'll be fine. Tip number 4, keep a journal. By keeping a journal, you'll be able to accurately track what you thought about fragrances. I've been, with my fragrance notes, that kind of serves as my journal of sorts. But for those of you who don't, do reviews and market fragrances or come across as fragrances, I would highly suggest keeping a journal and, jotting down what you think about a particular fragrance as you're trying them. That way, it'll kind of give you you'll start to build up a library that you can use yourself and know what kind of scents that you'll like and which kind of scents that you won't like, and things like that. And it'll be really helpful in the future, especially if you come across something that you may not, have the funds to purchase now, but you may want to purchase in the future. You'll know it was this scent and blah, 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 and you'll have all that information there. So keep a journal. And finally, tip number 5, be adventurous. Be adventurous. You know, the beautiful thing about niche fragrances and about the fragrance world is there are so many fragrances that are out there. There are so many fragrances that are constantly being released. You really want to get adventurous when you're looking at these fragrances. Try out fragrances that you might not necessarily like. You know, I notoriously don't like fig. I'm not the biggest fan of cumin, but that does not stop me from trying fragrances like that and giving them a shot. Making sure that, you know, I give them their fair shot so that maybe this parfumé did something a little bit different than the other one. And, you know, there's just so much magic out there. So don't necessarily even be roped in by just what people are reporting, because there's so much more to that. And you can find gems that you'll love, especially if you do a little searching. So be adventurous is my final tip. Now, I hope these tips have helped you. And I highly encourage you to apply them in some shape or form as you're going down on your niche adventure. Maybe you guys have some tips of your own, or some people who have been in the fragrance community, maybe you have tips of your own. Leave those tips down below. Leave them down below so people can, you know, obviously be helped out as they come to this video and go on their fragrance journey. All right? So thank you guys. Take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.